Here it says 30 students took a mathematics test. The marks they scored are shown in the table below. Right? Now it says complete the cumulative frequency column in the table above. Remember, the cumulative frequency is adding up the frequency column. So we start off with 3, then we add 4 to 3, then we get 7, and then we're going to add 8 to 7, and we're going to get 15. Then we're going to add 3 to 15, that is going to give us 18. And then we're going to add 1 to the 18, and we're going to get 19. And then we're going to add 6 to the 19, that's going to give us 25. And if we add the 5 to the 25, we get 30. Right? So 1 mark. Now here it says, using the information in the table above, determine the range. Now we are dealing with the mark, students receive on the math test. So therefore the range is going to be the highest minus the lowest. So it's going to be 10 minus 1, which is equal to 9. What is the modal mark? So the modal mark is the most frequent mark. So let's look at the table for the most frequent mark. Let's look in the tally section. So here we have 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 is the modal mark, right? So 8 persons got a mark of 3. So here now we're looking at the median mark. That is the middle mark, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to add 1 to the total students, right? So the total amount of students is 30. So we're going to add 1 to the 30. So add 1 to 30. We get 31. And then we're going to divide that by 2. And that is going to give us 15 and a half or 15.5. So now we're going to count. So what this is telling us is that the median mark will be between 2 marks, right? So therefore I'm going to count my frequency. So this is 3 plus 4, 7. 7 plus 8, that's 15. So the median mark is going to be between 3 and 5, right? So if we add 3 plus 5 and then divide that by 2, so 3 plus 5 divided by 2, that is going to give us 8 over 2, which is equal to 4. So what we did here is to find the position of the median mark, right? So let's look at the other question. Now here it says find the mean mark. Now what we need to do now, let's go back to our table. What we have to do now, we're going to take the frequency and multiply by the mark. So it's going to be 3 times 1, that is going to give us 3. Then 4 times 2, that is going to give us 8. Then 8 times 3, that is 24. Then 3 times 5, 15. Then 1 times 7 is 7. Then 6 times 8, that's 48. And then 5 times 10, that's 50. Now we're going to add all of these numbers together. We're going to add them. So let's get our calculator and add them. So we have 3 plus 8 plus 24 plus 15 plus 7 plus 48 plus 50. That is give us 155. So let's go down here. And it's going to be 155 divided by the total amount of students. So that is going to give us 30. And that's equal to, so divide our answer by 30. And that's going to give us 5.2. So our mean mark is 5.2. So remember what we did. Let's go back up and recap what we did. We take the frequency and multiply it by the mark, right? Because remember, the frequency tells you how many students got that mark. right? So we multiply the frequency by the mark, and then we tally that number, we get 155, and then we divide by the amount of students. So we get the mean mark. All right, so let's move to the next part of the question. Let's move to the next part of the question. Now, part C. This is where we start having some probability now, right? So the following two-way table shows the gender distribution of the students' performance on the mathematics test, right? So we have a two-way table, pass or fail, and they give us a total, right? Now, part one of the question states, a student is chosen at random. Find the probability that the student is a female who failed the test. Now, the fact that they state that a student is chosen at random, that means we are looking at the total amount of students. So the number in the denominator is going to be 30. Now we need to find the probability that the student is a female who failed the test. So we look in the female section right here, and 13 female failed the test, so it's going to be 13 over 30. So that is our probability. Now let's look at part 2. It says a male is chosen at random. What is the probability that he passed the test? Now, notice now it never states that a student is chosen at random. It says a male is chosen at random. So therefore, the total amount of male is 9. So the denominator is going to be 9. And we need to find the probability that he passed the test. So it's going to be 4 over 9. Right? Let's move on to the next question.
The table below shows the marks out of 10 that 40 students in a class gained on an essay writing test. So after we analyze our table, we can move to the question. So here it says, calculate the mean score on the test. So in order to find the mean, we need to find the product of the marks and the frequency. So therefore, let us do it over this side. So we're going to take the product. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 times 9 is 54. 7 times 8 is 56. And 8 times 7 is 56 again. And 9 times 8 is 72. And 10 times 5 is 50. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take the sum of these numbers. So we're going to 12 plus 54 plus 56 plus 56 plus 72 plus 50, and we get 300. So in order to get the mean, so the mean is going to be 300 divided by the total number of students. So that is equal to 300 divided by 40, and that's 7.5. So the mean score is 7.5. It says determine the modal mark. So the modal mark is the most frequent. Most frequent. So let's go back to our table. So look at the number of students. So here I am seeing 9. That is the most that is the number of students, and it corresponds to 6. So 9 students got a mark of 6. So the most frequent mark is 6. What is the median mark? So in order to find the median mark, we are given 40 students. Let's go back up here. We are given 40 students. What we're going to do, we're going to say 40 plus 1 divided by 2. That gives us 41 over 2, which is 20.5. So the median mark is going to fall between the 20th and the 21st mark. So now if I count up the number of students, because that's the frequency over here. So 9 plus 3 is 12, and 12 plus 8 is 20. So therefore, the median mark is going to lie between 7 and 8. So therefore, I'm going to take an average of those two numbers. So the median mark is 7 plus 8 divided by 2, and that's equal to 15 over 2, which is equal to 7.5. Let's move to the next part of the question. So it says, using the information in the table below, a pie chart is constructed to represent the marked students gained. Right? So here it's asking, calculate the angle for the sector representing the interval marks x between x is greater than or equal to 5 but less than or equal to 6 in the pie chart. So let's go to a table and look at the frequency for x between 5 and 6. So the frequency is 9. So our angle is going to be 9 divided by the total number of students is 40. And in order for me to get the angle, I must multiply this by 360 degrees. So that is equal to, let's get my calculator. So 9 divided by 40 times 360. That is going to give me 81 degrees. Let's move to the next part of the question. So here we are looking at a probability question. So the diagram below shows two fair six-sided dice, P and Q. The 6 numbers on die P are 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. The 6 numbers on die Q are 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3. When a die is rolled, the score is the number on the top face. Okay? I think they should have highlighted that in bold. However, let's move to the next part of the question. Die P is rolled once. What is the probability that the score is not 2? So there are two ways of doing this. Let's do it the easier way. So we want the probability that it's not a 2. So if we go to die P, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. 2 occurs once. So therefore, the remaining numbers is 0, 0, 1, 1, 3. So therefore, we have 5 out of 6. So that is the probability of not scoring a 2. 5 out of 6 ways. The next way we could have done this is to say, what is the probability of scoring a 2? What is the probability of scoring a 2? It is going to be 1 out of 6. So therefore, in order for me to find the probability of not scoring a 2, I have to subtract this from 1. And that is going to give me 5 over 6. Always remember, probability is between 0 and 1. The probability cannot be greater than 1. So anyhow you're given a probability question and your answer is greater than 1, you're doing something wrong. Let's look at the next part. So die Q is rolled twice. What is the probability that the score is 1 both times? Now, in order for me to better explain this question,